Everybody, Randy Patterson here with Boomerocity. And boy, do I have another fun one for you. As always, we love the blues here at Boomerocity, and it was on my radar for a long time to be able to talk to this young lady by the name of ZZ Ward, an amazing blues artist who has also done some other genres, but always had a tinge of blues in it. And she's recently come out with a new single, and I jumped at the chance to be able to talk to her about it. And the song is called Mother, and it's going to be part of another album coming out later on. But boy, what a great song it was. And it talks about her and motherhood, being the mother of two kids, one of them around 6 months old at the time of this recording, and very heartfelt. You could tell that she was very vulnerable when she wrote and recorded this song. And so it was a delight to be able to talk to her about the stories behind it, her recent tour with Slash, and the tour that's coming up. And so if you love the blues, you're going to love this interview with ZZ Ward. So please check it out. Please share it with your friends. And while you're at it, would you mind going ahead and hitting like wherever you're listening or watching this from, as well as subscribing? And if you don't mind, also share it with your friends who might love the blues. So without any further ado, here is my first of what I hope to be many more interviews to come with blues great ZZ Ward. Until next time, this is Randy Patterson with Boomerocity. Take care. But hey, I'm glad we finally get to meet up. I wanted to tell you that I've been following you for quite a while. Love your work, and it's
Oh,
a
thank
privilege
you.
to be able to finally get to meet you and talk to you for a few minutes. So thanks so much
Thank
for
you.
taking the time.
My pleasure.
I understand you're a mother again. How's that coming along? Handling two
It's
of them, right?
Yes, that's why I'm in my bathroom upstairs right now. I'm just trying to hide from the chaos. Or I would be in my super cool studio, but my 3.5-year-old could just walk right in my studio, so it doesn't work as well for me. Yeah, it's going great. I'm a new mom. I say I'm a new mom because I have a 6-month-old. So I mean, I am a new mom. It's my second rodeo now. So
Yeah.
I think I'm a little bit more weathered at it, I'd say, more experienced, but it keeps me guessing.
Yeah, I bet. I can only imagine. I only had one. I mean, fathered one. My daughter now is older than you are, so it's. But I still remember those days quite well. So, how are the kids adapting? Your older one's probably an old hand at all the touring and stuff, but how are both of
Yeah.
them doing?
Good. I mean, I definitely couldn't have gone out with the younger one, younger than 6 months. I think it would have been too hard. It was definitely harder with 2 kids than it was with 1. And then Ezra, that I call him Ezzy. Ezzy is definitely like a seasoned, touring guy now. He really likes it. I think he likes the adventure of it. I think that we try to give him, some sort of structure and familiarity to his life on the tour bus, or if we're, just driving to cities, or if we're, in a car or whatever we're doing, he just loves my band too, because he's got his, he loves my crew and my band. So
Well,
that's
cool.
been really nice. And then he knows that when mommy has to go sound check and play a show, like he knows what I'm doing and stuff. So I think he gets it. Yeah.
That's cool. I saw some pictures out on the internet somewhere, and I thought, you know, I don't think people fully appreciate um, what musicians in general have to do and endure and put up with. But when you're a parent, and especially a mother, and you bring your kids along, hopefully, or if you have to leave them behind, I mean, it's tough. And my hat's off to all of you who are able to walk that tightrope and keep some balance and sanity in your private life while doing the insane thing of entertaining people like me. So, but
Yep, I hear you.
so tell me about this song. I heard this great song of yours, Mother. I read a little bit about it, but tell fans and people who are just becoming aware of you what this song is about.
I mean, that's the thing when I write music. It's It's generally just like whatever I'm going through at the time. And this song is just saying how it is for me, how it was for me. I wrote this song when I had just had Ezra and I felt really alone and I felt really frustrated. And I knew that I wanted to move more into the blues and back to my roots of kind of like what brought me into music and got me into playing music in the first place, which was the blues. So I knew I wanted to, move further into that style of music. Um, and I think the one thing about the blues is, I'm not gonna write a happy song about being a mom. If I'm gonna write a blues song, I'm gonna write about the pain of being a mother, and I'm gonna write about, the honest, raw truth of being a mom. And so I think that I don't know if everybody maybe doesn't feel like comfortable doing that because they don't want to be like judged as like having something negative to say about being a parent, but like look, as parents, I think we all know, like, it's the best thing ever. It's like, I totally it's the best thing I've ever done with my life is having my boys, but, like, it can be really hard, and it can be really stressful and demanding, and so I wrote this song just kinda speaking, it's a mother's cry. It's speaking
Mhm.
my truth, so
Well, I know for songwriters to put themselves out there and bearing their souls, venting their spleens, whatever you want to call it, that takes a incredible amount of vulnerability. And and you just kind of alluded to it. Was it tough for you to write the song? I mean, did you write it with the intent of sharing it, or was it going to be like, look, I'm just going to put it down on paper to get it out of my system? And then you look at it and go, hey, this is a pretty good song here. Let's go with it.
yeah, I think that I knew I would share it, but I think because I've been writing music, like, for so long. And ever since I started to write music when I was, a kid, it was always very emotional music. It was always like very therapeutic for me. And I think because the people around me, the adults around me really encouraged that. I think that they saw probably, I would just assume they saw like from my dad to, other adults that were in my life probably saw a beauty in that vulnerability that they really encouraged that. So I
Mhm.
think from a young age, I just felt like that was a safe space for me to really talk about whatever was going on with me. And then coming to learn, like, over the years that, like, that would really connect with people in a way that you couldn't really connect with a stranger.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so I think because of that, I feel like the energy around that experience is positive. I mean, maybe it's negative stuff that you're talking about, but there is some similarity to people's stories and a beauty in the connection of music. And so I think because of that, I think there's a greater picture, and it's bigger than just me. And maybe that's the way that I fit into that picture. And so I think that's kind of just, I don't know, in a way, I wouldn't say that it's my job because I don't feel like it's my job. It's more of like what I need in my life. Like I need that outlet or I have to have that outlet. It'll always be there. And that's one thing through being a mom, like that I learned was like, I turned around after feeling so changed and feeling like, well, this is a whole new side of me and like my life will never be the same. But the one thing that does feel the same was my like feverish passion of wanting to write music. And so, I think that that's kind of just a little bit of about, how I felt comfortable writing Mother. Yeah.
When with this written and now recorded, I'm going to give you a two-part question on this. What was your takeaway from it as the artist, as the one who wrote it? And once it was put out there as a, finished work product. And secondly, what have you heard from others who have heard it so far, either positive or negative? And were there any surprises in those responses that you got?
Yeah. I think that like my take on putting it out is like when I listen to Mother now, I feel so proud of it because I really feel like it thumps, like it rocks. Like it really just checks all the boxes of like really what I wanted to create, which was like the music that I grew up listening to, the way that I've wanted to do music for a very long time, and also just telling a story that is my story, and I
Mhm.
think when you tell that story, whatever story that is, you have to just let it go. And you don't know who it's going to connect with. and who it's not going to connect with.
Mhm.
I definitely needed some friendly encouragement from like a few people around me when I was making this, next set of songs. Like, is it okay to be talking about motherhood and this and that? And the people around me were like, yeah, like you should talk about it. You should talk about what's going on with you. And I think in answering your second question, which is like, did I have any like surprising responses or like I think the most interesting thing to me is like the fathers that have come out and connected with this song. I
Mm,
think that has been like really a really awesome surprise. Like, and how supportive like men are when they hear this song. And I
mhm,
think that's really interesting. And that's just like a perfect example of music. Like you don't control it. Like you're the artist. I mean, I don't know. Maybe some artists are like, I know exactly what I'm doing and I know who this is going to connect with. And this is the formula. Like, I have no idea who it's going to resonate with. I don't feel that way about my music. So then to hear that, like, there are men hearing it that are like, they just like love it and they connect with it in some way that I can't explain is really cool. That's one of the coolest things.
cool. What as this gets more traction, what are you hoping people will take away from it, men or women? What when it's all said and done, what do you hope that final takeaway is on the song?
Um, well, I guess I hope that when people hear my music, that it transports them to a different place that is a place that they want to go. When I think about music that I grew up listening to that I really loved, it just had a vibe. It just had an energy and it was a place that I wanted to live in for a while. You know what I
Mhm,
mean? Like
mhm.
some of my favorite albums growing up, I just think about like I could put on now. It's the same thing. It just transports you out of your life in a little bit and just takes you somewhere else. And so that is what I would love to do with my new music is just be able and for people to also to like want to come see me live. And it's just a continuation of that.
You mentioned, getting back into the blues and loving that because that's what drew you to it. I watched one of your interviews where you talked about taking guitar lessons from the guy that was in your dad's band. So now that you're with Sun Records of all labels, I mean, I would imagine since, I'm sure I'm probably around your dad's age, maybe a little older than him. I mean, that's gotta be like a just a total mind warp for him. And what's it like working with Sun? And what was your dad's response, first of all, when you got that when you signed on to them? What was his
I was
response? And
just
then what's it like working with Sun Records?
Yeah, my dad was super excited, man, when I told him that Son was gonna put the album out. It was just like he was stoked. He was stoked. And I think us, having shared so much music growing up and him, um, being such a huge, huge part of my life and influence on me to share in that joy and that celebration of signing with such a legendary record company was really an awesome, awesome feeling. And I didn't want to tell him about it too soon because I really wanted to make sure it was really it was really something that was happening. And so, it was really wonderful sharing that with him. And again, and the second part of that question, just like to be to have Son relaunch and be a part of that, new face of Sun Records. It feels just serendipitous. Like it feels amazing, especially having kind of like been on a major label and then to turn around, reinvent myself as an independent artist, and then to go, I want to go make this project. This is what I want to do. I don't know who's supporting me doing it, but I know that I want to go make this new music and I want to lean into the blues more to go do that. And then to have Sun hear it and want to put it out, it's just like, I don't know. It just like all made sense. It just was like reaffirming that that was the right thing that was the path that I was supposed to do. And so, and yeah, I mean, there's so many legendary Sun artists that I grew up listening to that is just the real deal. It's like really, really, really good music that stands the test of time. And so to be a part of that group is wild.
I
Yeah.
think I think it's awesome. So it sounds like this album, I mean, it's not much of a stretch to assume this, but it sounds like this song will be part of an upcoming album. Am I right on that? And if so, when can we expect to see the whole album come out?
Yeah, so the I just announced the EP, which is called Mother. There's some amazing tunes on that that are coming out, and I think it's October. You have to double check me and look. I do have 2 kids, so I don't remember all the dates, but I think it's October, that it's coming out, and yeah, there's more music to come after that. So, but I can't wait for people to hear the EP. Yeah.
Wow. Well, you just did a tour this summer with Slash. How did that tour go for you?
It was awesome. It was such a wonderful tour. It really was incredible being out there with, just some amazing, blues musicians. I
Mhm.
mean, to be out there with, you know, Kingfish and Larkin Poe was out there and Kev Mo, who I grew up listening to, which I
Yeah.
was like talking to, backstage every day. I just was really wonderful. It was such a wonderful energy and just something that I was really so thrilled to and honored to be a part of. And Slash was such a wonderful person and so incredibly talented and really exciting that he did this blues project. And so, which is fantastic. And so
Mhm.
it was all in all just a super tour. It was great.
Wow. Well, what is it? I mean, I know what it is for me. Being, and I'm sure it can. Your dad and I could probably sit and talk for hours about blues and what it meant to us as kids. But I grew up on Elvis and others after that, and for me, the blues was just kind of injected into me when I first started listening to music. But it seems to always go up and down in popularity. Unfortunately, in the last, I don't know, 15 or so years, it seems to have kept a pretty steady upward trajectory in popularity, ever growing popularity, especially in your generation and the generation behind you. What is it that appeals to you about the blues? Um, that maybe it didn't appeal to me and your dad.
I'm not sure if I have that answer. I'd have to talk through it to figure out what that answer is. I know that when I was growing up, my parents were playing Muddy Waters and Big Mama Thornton and
Mhm.
Etta James and Son House, and that was always there, and there was this feeling of, like, home when I was listening to the blues.
Mm.
And so for me, like, then, going into, moving down to LA and knowing that I was coming out of the blues, growing up in a blues band, playing blues cover songs, it's like I didn't know exactly how it was okay to, like, thread that into the music that I was making. So every time I was hear blues, it was like I was just like that. It just felt like home. And there were so many songs that I would do like early on, like, you know, um, I mean, Lil Darlin' is a blues song. Cannonball is a blues song. There's so many blues influences in my music. And also I think at the core of it, what the blues taught me really, which I always say, is it really taught me as an artist to really be authentic in your word. Like whatever it is that you're singing about, you're playing about, people need to feel that. And
Mhm.
in order for people to feel that, you have to feel it.
That's
You
right.
have to feel it as the performer, it's your story. And so that is something that I learned from the blues because it is no bullshit with the
Yeah.
blues. It's like it is not it is the real deal. These are people that really know how to play, that really know how to sing, that really feel it. So I'd
Mhm.
say that's probably the biggest thing that I learned from the blues. And I think it's the core of everything. It's the core of every type of music. You know what I mean?
I agree.
And I do think that there, like you said, there are times when the blues will shine where it'll keep coming back in history because it's the real thing.
Mhm. Well, as you see in my background here, there's a little tour poster of your upcoming tour. Tell fans about that tour, what they can expect, and what else might be on your radar for the rest of the year and going into next year.
Yeah, we got the Dirty Sun tour coming up, and yeah, this is this is gonna be a different show than people have seen from me, and a really, really fantastic. I've plans. Can't talk about all my plans, but I have, this is just a really exciting time for me of kind of, I mean, just going deeper into what I've always been. And I think with that is like a fearlessness that I think when people come to these shows, um, I have ideas on how to elevate things that are going to make it really, really special. And of course, they'll hear, the class that I know that there are people that just love, you know, different. I've been around for a minute, so there are songs that people love and they want to hear. So I'm conscious of that too. But I think it's going to be a really remarkable tour. So,
Okay.
and yeah, it's just going to be a lot of new.
Well, I hope to catch one of the stops there. I'm not sure if I'll be able to, but I'm going to look to see how close you get to me, and I'll try to reach out to you. One final question, and you're a mom now, twice over. You got a lot of years ahead of you. I hope to interview you many, many, many more times. And so with that in mind, I'll probably ask you this question every other time we talk. So, um, and it's not intended to be a macabre question at all. Just just to see where you're at in the overall scheme of things. And that is when you step off the great tour bus of life up at the great gig in the sky, to borrow a little bit from Pink Floyd, how do you want to be remembered, and what do you hope your legacy is, especially now that you have two kids that you're heavily influencing?
Yeah, for me, honestly, I think that there is. Maybe I'm wrong when I say this. I'm sure some people will remember me, right? Like that aren't my family, but there's so much music now. Like, there is so much music and so much content. It is, like, such a different world than it used to be with
Mhm.
music. And so for me, I think how I wanna be remembered is by my children. Like, that's what I want to be remembered by, and
Yeah.
it's not as a success story because that like, trying to be like, "Oh, okay, well, my parents succeeded, so I need to succeed like them." Like, that's not how I care to be remembered. All I wanna be remembered as is somebody that really followed their dreams, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And worked on art and made beautiful art. I mean, they don't have to be artists. Whatever they want to do with their lives, I just want them to love their life and make work that they're proud of. You know what I mean? That could be in medicine. I don't know, change people's lives. Like that's what it's about. And obviously, being able to take care of yourself and your family. But that's how I want to be remembered. I mean, that's true. I don't know. I think, don't get me wrong. I love going on stage. I love performing. I love a good challenge. But I don't know. It's not the most important thing in the world for me to be remembered by other people. It's just, and if it affects, I guess, if they hear a song and my songs are remembered that they help people or they connect with people, I would love to be remembered that way. I mean, for the most part, I want my kids to remember me that way.
I love the answer. It's very, very
Yeah,
good. Well, Zizi, I appreciate you taking the time. Please know my door is always open to you. John knows that, and I appreciate John getting us together here finally. And I've wanted to interview you for a few years now, so for this to happen is a big deal to me. So thank you again for taking the time. Please
a
be
pleasure.
safe out there, and I know you're a great mom, and I just pray that you're able to continue to do that in all the best ways possible, and hopefully we can meet face to face down the road sometime.
I hope so too. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.